Hi everyone, I'm Katie Bryden. I'm the senior producer of the visual storytelling team at Conservation International, and today my colleague Edgardo Ochoa is going to join us. He is the Marine Safety Officer for Conservation International, and we're going to talk about his work on removing ghost nets. We attempted this a second ago, but let's see if the sound is better and this works again. Okay. We're back.
We're back.
Okay, so we're talking about ghost nets and why it's so important for them to be removed, what impact they cause for marine mammals and for coral reefs. So could you share that a little bit more?
Yes, as I mentioned before, it's not only the big marine fauna with whales or dolphins, sea lions, seals, sea turtles, even some marine birds too. Is the big impact also is on fisheries. Sometimes this abandoned fishing gear keep trapping marine life, and sometimes they don't let the species to reproduce the way that they get big enough to reproduce and obviously support the fisheries in the areas. So that's important when we remove it and keep it, keep the fisheries working.
Yeah, great. I'm hoping the audio sounds better.
I turned down my volume. Let me see.
Yeah.
That works too. But it's better?
Oh, I think that sounds better.
Okay.
Okay. So do you want to share again the tools that you use to remove ghost nets?
Yes. So as I mentioned before, the idea is to keep this as simple as possible and make it pretty safe too. So I use this. This is a current device, and it's pretty simple. Have the knife actually here inside, and we're using this to cut lines. So it's pretty safe because you can put your fingers. You can't. It's just too small. And this is perfect to cut. It's not sharp, so you can put it in your pocket and don't cause any damage on your diving gear. Pretty simple to use. I particularly don't like the bright colors, but it's perfect when we start removing ghost nets because usually get murky, so it's easy to see. And many times we have to do knots in order to remove the fishing gear lifted to the surface. So rather than to work with the knots underwater, I prefer just carabiners. So we just only need to make a tiny loop, clip it, put on the lift back, and send it to the surface. We always need some surface support, some people on the boats or on the shore to help us to hold the nets out of the water.
Yeah, great. And as I mentioned before, we removed 400 pounds of ghost nets in Colombia. And you were saying where else you've been removing ghost nets and even how many ghost nets that community in Colombia has continued to remove.
Well, the good thing is the team we train in Colombia, in Ochoa, in the village of Nuki, they still very active. That is a good news and it's a bad news. It's a good news because they using the training and the tools that we provide, but the bad news is still ghost nets around. Other initiatives is with the Panamanian government. They have a very active team too. If I remember right, they removed over 5 or 6 tons in the last couple of years. Also, we have some programs or support some teams in Mexico. And now I'm working with a different initiative with the El Salvador government. But also we did this on Indonesia and East Timor. And hopefully we can join more and more teams and more groups doing this.
Yeah, great. And for those people who can't dive, how can they help support these efforts or help keep their oceans clean?
That's a very interesting question, and I think my favorite on all this is show the people the connectivity, almost every single action that we take have some repercussion in the ocean. So if you like seafood or you like fish, be sure to consume only legal fish. Means that fish is bringing to you using the proper techniques, the proper fishing gears, with respect of the season, the closings, and all this. If we only consume what is in the season, it's almost positive that they come from a legal and sustainable fisheries. If you consume some of the fish that is not in the season, most likely will be illegal. And this is the kind of thing that have an impact on the oceans. And it's something we can support or help far from the ocean.
Right. Yeah, I think that's great advice. So since it's Earth Day and we're all craving more nature, can you share one of your favorite dive experiences or one of your favorite moments diving in the field?
My favorite dive site, I have to say, is the next one.
Yeah.
No matter where, but the next one. Of course, it's some places that I keep it on my mind as the amazing places, many of them. Just to mention some, I love Cabo Pulmo. It's a marine park in the Gulf of California in Mexico. Some of my favorites are in Rayan Pat in Indonesia. It's the epicenter of the biodiversity, of the marine biodiversity in the planet. Some amazing sites, but some other places, the coast of California is also very impressed for me. I love it. But basically every place where I can be underwater is my favorite place. Experience, because what I do is diving safety. This is my main job at Conservation International. So I usually avoid situations to put me on risk or put my divers on risk. So I can tell that I've been actually in any situation with a real problem, real surprise. I try to avoid that.
Right.
However, I remember being working a project, and this is hilarious, on a project taking some monitoring on a rocky reef. So we're taking measures of some marine life, like sea fans. So I have at that moment this very cutting edge camera. It was a Nikon 5. It's still using rolls, it's not even digital. And we put it next to us. It's pretty heavy, so it's no problem to get moved with the currents or anything. So we put it by the side and we start taking some measure. And it's this playful sea lion come around and stay with us for several minutes. But at some point, grab my camera and just swim away with the camera. I saw the sea lion just disappear into the blue with my camera. So I chased it for a while and finally drop it. But drop it in something like 120 feet of water. So because we already have some time underwater, we have to surface and wait for another couple hours before we can actually go back and recover the camera.
Oh my goodness.
So lesson learned, use some of this, attach all your gear to you, never leave to the sea lions.
Yeah, what's your dive safety tip?
Dive safety tip, follow your plan. Make a plan and follow your plan, always.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Let's see. I think we're almost out of time, but there might be one question. Oh, this is a tough question, but how fish and other ocean organisms will be safe from COVID? And I think this disease won't be a problem for marine species, but having so much pressure on the ocean means there could be, future diseases with fish and marine mammals that could be of issue. Do you have anything to add to that?
Not really. As far as I know, is the ocean at this point have some benefits because we don't fishing at the same rate that we usually do, but also because it's less people who report what happened. I know in some places where they have some illegal fishing at this very moment. So hard to say. As a virus, I don't think have any relation with the marine life, but as a social experiment, yes, the impact because we don't visit the ocean, but at the same time we don't protect the ocean have a different impact.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all that we can talk about for now, but thanks so much for joining, Edgardo, and
Thanks for having me.
For tuning in. Please continue to ask us questions we can answer throughout the day. and make sure to tune into the next Instagram Live. I hope
Sure.
everybody has a great Earth Day.
Perfect.
All right.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.